Hello, hello. Here we are with a great big informational, easy to understand talk about energy and the human body. Okay. I have simplified this down to the most simple scientific way for anybody to think about this in your brain. Okay. This human body, there are only three things that human body can consume and get a calorie, which gives that human body energy to move, think, and digest. Okay. There are only three things. Okay. There are only three things that body can do, three different levels of a thing that body can do to burn that energy off. Okay. So we're going to start right here. We're going to start talking about the three energies in what we consume. There are only three things that your body can consume for a calorie. It is protein, fat, and carb, the very three things that are in the media and the news all the time. What do you cut out? What should you eat more of? But most of the people are trying to cut something out because when you cut calories, you're like, what do I cut out? Here's the deal. You've got to have all three to have a well-balanced body: protein, fat, and carbohydrate. It is so simple. Now you can choose better versions of the three or worse versions of the three for your body. Okay, we're going to talk about that later on. But for now, these three things give you and your body energy. They're the only three things. There's nothing else that will give you energy: protein, fat, and carb. These are the things that will give you calories. These are the things that will put weight on your body, and these were the things that will help build your body. Okay. So I like to use this little jar as an example, and people struggle to figure out how much of each should they have. This is the easiest way that all fitness people will look at this. Okay. Well, most fitness people. We know protein is life. So we want to start with protein. I preach to my clients 30, 30, 30 or 50, 50, 50. Okay. 30, 30, 30 means 30 grams at breakfast, 30 grams at lunch, 30 grams at dinner. Now you've got 90 grams of protein in your body. Otherwise, you're going to build up to 50, 50, 50, which is 150 grams. That can be a lot for people who are not focused or have not been focused on protein. So I generally have them go somewhere between 90 and 120. Okay. So over here to the right side, if you know that you want to eat somewhere around 1,800 calories, the first thing you're going to do is say, well, I know that I need 120 grams of protein and 65 grams of fat. Because listen, everybody needs somewhere between 55 and 75 or 85 grams of fat. 75, it's really 55 to 75 grams, okay? You don't need more than that, but you do need some of that. So we've got to have some fat, okay? So if I take those two numbers and I multiply them out and subtract them from the 1,800 that I know I need to eat today, whatever's left goes to carbohydrate. You can pick the carbohydrate, but it goes to carbohydrate. There's nothing else to give it to. Okay. So 120 grams of protein at 4 calories per gram is 480 calories. 65 grams of fat at 9 calories per gram is 585 calories. So if we take our 1,800, subtract out our protein and our fat, that leaves us 735 calories left to eat. We make that carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is also 4 calories per gram. So that means I need 184 grams of carbohydrate. Most people look at that and freak out, but let me tell you, there's nothing else to put it to. You can have a lot more protein and you can have some more fat, but what else are you going to put it toward? Okay. You don't, I promise you, if you want to be an active person, you do not want to delete all the carbohydrate out of your day. All right. Now, if you're 1,500 calories, that's going to change those numbers, right? So if you're 1,500 calories, I still want you at 120 grams of protein. If you're 1,200 calories, I'm going to ask that you're 90. Okay, so you're always going to take your protein out of there first, but pretty much if you're someone that fluctuates between 18 and say 2,300, you're still going to have your 120 grams of protein or your 150, whatever it's going to be. That's your number first. And that's how we fill this jar of our daily calories. We first take out what protein we know we're going to need. Then we take out the fat because those are easy, already known numbers. Whatever's left is your carbohydrate. Okay. Got to fuel this muscle. All right. Next, we're going to talk about the three energies out. the 3 ways that you exert energy out of your body. There's 3 ways. There's really only 3 ways, okay? And it's through exhale. Exertion, exhale, okay? For about every 10 pounds of body fat that you lose, about 8 pounds of it is through exhale. So you squeeze your muscles and you exhale while you're working, and you're exhaling energy out. And that energy comes from one of these 3 processes: ATP, anaerobic, or aerobic. Those are the only 3. Okay. There is no other processes in the body for exertion. Okay. ATP is super intense. It's like sprinting. Okay. Rushing to get a kid out of the way of a car. It's sprinting all out, all you have. That's the immediate ATP. It's really just seconds long. Anaerobic is like lifting weights. It's like a HIIT workout. It's the kind of workout that you can't really sit there and tell a story while you're doing it unless you stop, because you're working so hard that your body can't, it doesn't have the ability to take in oxygen and keep talking. Okay. And then you have aerobic. Okay, aerobic. We know what aerobics are, right? Step aerobics. So aerobic means with oxygen. That means that you're moving light enough that your body has the ability to pull in the oxygen, grab that food, and make that combustion to make your body use the food you eat for fuel. Now, how do we reach that body fat? First of all, you have to burn off what's already in your system, and then you have to reach down into your body fat stores by continuing exercise nonstop. Low to moderate exercise nonstop. Okay. So if you continually stop, you're probably not going to reach the fat stores and use up the body fat that you want. Okay. So we have ATP for intense exertion. We have anaerobic. Okay. That's weightlifting. That's HIIT workouts. Okay. That's moderate to intense exertion. And then you have aerobic, which is low to moderate exertion. Okay. So I put a little note down here so that you can see that ATP is more like sprinting. Anaerobic is more like running or lifting weights. Aerobic is walking. Okay. And so the next thing you want to ask yourself, if you're going to decide how many calories and how much exertion you're going to put out, you want to ask yourself, is your body trained already or is it untrained? Because if it's an untrained body, your aerobic levels your aerobic levels are going to be a little lower than you think. You're going to need to slow down more than you think in order to get your body in the aerobic level. Okay. So often that is what I find, is that people do not understand if their body's trained or untrained. And so then they end up working too hard or too little. So if you're unsure about that, you can always reach out to me or ask me that question either on social media or in an email. I'll be glad to answer that for you. All right. So with that said, this is it. Okay, these are your 3. Snap a picture of this, use this as an example. Fill your little jar every day. Decide how many of the 3 macros you're going to eat every day, because there's nowhere else you're going to get a calorie from. And then decide what kind of exercise or exertion you're going to put out today. So maybe you just do a walk. Maybe tomorrow you do a jog, or maybe tomorrow you lift weights. We really only want to do the highest one here, this intense exertion. We don't want to live there. We don't want to spend a lot of time there, because it can really wear the body down. So we want to live in these 2. We just need little bits of this ATP one, little bits per week. Okay. So again, any questions, let me know. This is super simplified. It's going to help you get more fit. And be simple about it. Okay. So the only thing that makes this complicated is all the other noise coming in at you. So when you look at the label of your food, follow these 3, look at these 3 first, ignore everything else until you really learn it. And then when it comes time for you to move, you want to ask yourself, am I in aerobic, anaerobic, or ATP? Okay. And you're going to know that. You can actually guide that by the talk test. So the way I'm standing here talking to you, that would be in aerobic mode. So if I even stood here for another half an hour to an hour, I'm going to feel like a real light zone 2 aerobic, because I'm moving my hands a lot. I'm constantly talking. I'm exerting myself. I can feel my heart rate is just a little bit up. It's really not in an aerobic zone yet. But anyway, you do the talk test. So if you are working pretty hard, if you're like, I think I'm working kind of moderate, I can get 2 sentences out easy, then you're probably in anaerobic mode. If you can't really get a sentence out, you are in that ATP mode, okay? So any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all soon.